On the WGY Morning News, a guy is suing Starbucks after his 5-year-old daughter found a hidden camera in the bathroom. And just last week, a Colonie man was arrested for taking cell phone video up a woman's skirt at the library. We're joined by WGY legal analyst Paul Harding of Martin Harding & Mazzotti. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Hey, Paul.
So what are the legal issues surrounding this? In the Starbucks case, the guy is suing. How can they be held responsible for someone placing a camera in their bathroom?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I took an opportunity and I read the complaint that was filed, and they're taking three different approaches. But the one I think that they have the best chance of succeeding at is just a pure negligence cause of action, meaning, you know, you've got a duty when you're owning and you're operating and maintaining a facility, a Starbucks, a restaurant, anywhere, to just do what's reasonable. And somehow this camera was placed in there. The little girl found it. And if they were maintaining the bathrooms, they should have found it too. So that seems to be where they have the strongest cause of action, but yet they've not determined who set up the camera.
Right. I mean, the father went to the manager of the store. The manager called police, and they haven't found the person who did it. But this is actually the third time this has happened at a Starbucks this year.
Well, number one, there's a lot of Starbucks out there. Yeah, it does seem odd. And I would say that maybe the configurations of the Starbucks bathrooms are more conducive to setting up some type of a camera. And, of course, we know that the cameras are so small and undetectable these days. Yeah, Starbucks is, you know, this is more of a public relations nightmare for them. They pride themselves on, you know, coming to Starbucks, sit back, read, relax, and have a good time. And now everyone's going to be worried about going to the bathroom.
Hey, Paul, is it legally important whether this person, when they're found, is an employee or not?
Yeah, it would be from a claim perspective, a claim for money damages. You know, if they hired someone who had a tendency or who had a background, and in whether it would be having done this before or just having some criminal background, they've got to do a little better than that. They've got to do a little better on the screening. So, yes, if they find it was an employee and they find the employee had a bit of a sketchy background, then Starbucks is going to be a little more on the hook for what this employee did.
Now, if it's not an employee, it was some random customer who may have placed the camera there and then plan on going back later in the day to retrieve it or something along those lines.
Right.
Now, and they do find that if they do find the establishment responsible, then could that also lay the groundwork for, say, this Colonie library case where there was a guy here videotaping up a woman's skirt?
Well, no, they're distinguishable, but certainly oddly similar also. The Colonie incident here with, I believe, the Water of Elite man, you know, he's holding this handheld device and he's kind of sitting next to the person, and he goes down and he takes some pictures, you know, puts it underneath, I believe, the desk and takes the picture. So, you know, again, they had no notice of this. It happened spontaneously. It happened without them even having an opportunity to do much of anything. And, of course, he wasn't an employee. But even so, having a camera set up in the bathroom, as in the Starbucks case, it had to have been there for certainly several hours, probably several days.
So if the guy had actually left his camera there to record and placed it under the desk, that would be a different situation.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, under a desk would be a really hard standard to make the library, you know, liable. You know, so I guess the more technical and then the better they are at hiding it. Well, you know, if it's not reasonable to find it, then we can't hold the establishment liable. This 10-year-old girl sat down and said, there's a camera. You know, this thing wasn't hidden. So that makes a difference also.
Interesting cases. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, interesting.
Paul Harding of Martin Harding & Mazzotti, 1-800-LAW-1010 on the WGY Morning News.